As an enhanced lifestyle bodybuilder, you have a secret weapon that not a lot of people talk about. When you tell people, oh, like, I take gear, I eat a bodybuilder diet, I train hard, I do all this, and I don't step on stage, a lot of guys will kind of shit on you. But I get it. I mean, I compete now, but that was never really, a thought in my head the first, I don't know, 4 years I was doing this. And it's hard to find good advice, good ways to take advantage of, just doing it as a hobby. But I've been there. That's what I started out doing. And I want to say I did things the wrong way for a while. I did things kind of the opposite about what I'm about to share with you. And it would often result in my physique being pretty subpar for the amount of gear I was taking and, the amount of perceived effort I was putting into things. And that kind of fucked with me psychologically. I'm like, I'm doing all these things. Why do I not look the way I want to look? And then over the years, and especially since coaching people, I kind of discovered a tool you can utilize as a lifestyle guy that not a lot of people think about. Because think about it, as a lifestyle guy, what's your goal? You want to get really fucking big for the hell of it, just because you want to, or maybe not huge, but like lean and muscular, the classic physique everyone has in mind. And you want to do that without, I don't know, quote unquote, destroying your life, your health, your mental well-being, your family, all that shit. Because, I mean, guys, competitive bodybuilding takes a fucking toll on you. I respect it, and I'm excited to do it again, but not something, if I even had the genetics for, I don't even know if I'd want to make a career out of that. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason guys want to do this but don't want to compete. And, it doesn't really register when you tell guys who compete, like, what your goals are. But I understand them. And the resource you have that a lot of these guys don't, the guys that step on stage versus, guys who just do this for fun just because they want to, the resource you have that they don't is time. Not a lot of people will even think of this, but let me for you guys who don't know kind of like what competitive bodybuilding is like. Time is not necessarily a resource you have, because you have to do some pretty aggressive measures to get where you want to be. If your goal is to be like a pro, or, even like stepping on the Olympia stage, it's it's very demanding on the body, the mind, your health, everything. And you don't have a lot of time to do it. You want to get, your first overall, and then get your first, national show done as soon as possible, and then win your pro card at a national level show, and then get good as a pro. And you want to do this all fast because you can't bodybuild forever. So these guys take very aggressive measures. Like, if you're doing, like, I mean, there's some dudes that'll do like 3, 4, 5 shows a year. And what they won't tell you is, like, a lot of these guys are like rarely taking health phases because they have to keep fucking extending their cycle to bridge all these shows, because they can't, go into a full health phase, or, they're having to do these like 2-month mini off seasons and like all this shit because they're competing so often. Because, they're like, okay, I didn't win an overall at this show, I need to go do it at this show and this show and this show. And that's just kind of the lifestyle. I'm not judging it. It is what it is. It's a very competitive sport for sure. It's got a pretty steep learning curve, in my opinion. But anyways, as I'm saying, like, these guys have got to take a lot of risks and do it in a very short period of time. As someone who does this as a hobby, You don't have to do that. And that is something that I struggled to grasp. I always felt like I was short on time. And this is how social media is. I was 19, like really starting to get into the gym serious, and I'm seeing other 19-year-olds who have young LA sponsorships or twice my size, so there is a bit of mental pressure from the outside for sure. But as a lifestyle guy, you have time. It's a double-edged sword, though, and I'm going to explain that. It's both a blessing and a curse. Let me explain how it's a blessing first. You can take the time to stay, I don't want to say perfectly healthy, but as healthy as possible. Dude, if my blood work comes back like not where I want it, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to take a health phase. And that's someone who makes money off their physique. Like, I mean, it's part of my livelihood. But at the end of the day, I'm like, man, I got the time. I don't have a show coming up in a month. I can afford to let my body clear out so I can grow more in the future. One thing that I used to really like be super aggressive with was my food. I do these like 1,000-calorie fucking surpluses and deficits like right off the bat because I just felt like this rush, like I need to get big, I need to get bigger, I need to get lean. You don't have to do that. All my guys are probably underwhelmed by the food changes they see. Like, I'm like, all right, updated your food, new plan, and it's like fucking, all right, you're eating 50 grams less of rice, but they lose weight off that. You don't have to do all this super aggressive shit, guys. Like, you're not, some of you might be, but as a lifestyle guy, generally you're not trying to get down to 5% body fat and be like stage lean with striated glutes. You don't have to do all this aggressive shit on your cuts. You don't need a fucking 120 micrograms of Clen off the rip with 10 mgs of Retta and all this shit that I see people, I even see lifestyle guys doing sometimes. I'm like, guys, relax. You can take it slow and make this super productive. You don't have to, put all this strain on your body to achieve a goal that at the end of the day, like, isn't even really yours. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just want to be lean. You don't want to be stage lean. Same thing goes for growing phases. Like, dude, you're a lifestyle guy. You don't need, 50 IUs of insulin with 20 IUs of growth a day with all, like, this massive amount of food. Like, guys, that's how you end up with bubble guts. You don't want that. That is completely avoidable. That comes from, a combination of high food, high insulin, high growth hormone, like very aggressively. You don't have to do that. If you're a lifestyle guy, you should never end up with a fucking, bubble gut or like GH gut as they call it, even though, as I just said, it's a complex mix of things. And I see this so often with lifestyle guys when they send me their cycles and they send me their protocols and all this. And I'm like, dude, slow down. I'm not saying take pussy doses. I'm not saying don't take it seriously. I'm saying slow down. You have time where you don't have to do irreversible damage to your body. But this can also be a curse. Because what I see lifestyle bodybuilders doing is copying the dangerous part of the bodybuilding lifestyle, but they don't copy the basic foundations of, what it is to live like a bodybuilder. Let me explain. You have time to not do this super aggressive shit with your gear and your food and all this shit, but at the same time, if you're starting, because I have a lot of clients who are starting this journey, in their 40s, 50s, late 30s. In that regard, you don't have time. You don't have time to be dicking around. And that's, unfortunately, the curse of the lifestyle bodybuilder. They want to take all the drugs that the big guys are taking, but they don't want to live the lifestyle. The hard parts, the boring parts, needles are easy. You can stick one in your ass and you're good to go. It's the other shit that people think they have all the fucking time in the world with. Let me tell you this. If you are a lifestyle bodybuilder, your goal is to look like a bodybuilder, you don't have time to dick around with your diet. You do not have time to dick around with your training. And you don't have time to dick around with your drugs, as in doing like stupid fucking experiments that you saw, I don't know, fucking Vigorous Steve. No hate to the guy, but like, you know, I'll see people like, oh, Vigorous Steve said he tried this. And I'm like, well, Vigorous Steve does this for a living. You don't. But, you know, you don't have time to be doing If It Fits Your Macros. You don't have time to be doing the Sam Sulek diet when you are genetically inferior to Sam Sulek. No offense. You know, you don't have time to be doing this like pussy ass training where you're never getting stronger and you're never actually improving. You're just going through the motions. You know, it's the lifestyle part of the lifestyle bodybuilder title that matters, in my opinion. You know, you can get the look. You can get, you know, a good percentage of what these, you know, stage-ready bodybuilders have with a lot less of the stress on the body and the mind, but the lifestyle has to be there. You have to be, you know, following the meal plan. You have to be eating five to seven plus bodybuilder meals a day. You know, relatively the same shit every day. Not hitting these daily macros at weird intervals from whatever foods you want. Like, that's just not how it works. Oh, calories in, calories out. Yeah, sure, pure weight loss. But if you want to look a certain way, your nutrient timing, the composition of your diet, all this shit matters. And it really does. That's the thing you don't have time to waste. You know, because I see guys time and time again, they're going to the gym, they're taking gear, and their diet just sucks. And it's like they're just wasting money on gear. They're wasting time in the gym. And that's the time you can't afford to waste. But where I'm going with this, guys, is bottom line, as a lifestyle guy, you have the gift of not having to kill yourself for the fucking sport. And that's awesome. I genuinely think that is such a good thing that this culture of lifestyle bodybuilding has emerged, where it's like you can take your foot off the gas sometimes. But on the flip side, remember, if you want to be a lifestyle bodybuilder, you need to live the lifestyle. You need, you know, a solid diet plan, a solid training plan, smart cycles, you know, the shit that produces growth over time, not some experiment you found on r/PEDs. That's the time that is invaluable to you, that will make you successful if you use it right. Anyways, guys, that's my wisdom for today. Yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel and take this and apply it to your daily life. Later.